I'm Grace Pedota with the CSE, Listings, Marketing, and Events Coordinator, and I am joined by the lovely Sophia Ruffolo, CEO and founder of Fembot. And if you kind of just want to talk a little bit about what Fembot is, we can get started with that for the viewers that don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a community and education hub and all things in between for women entrepreneurs of any size, any stage. I basically say if you're a woman entrepreneur and you want to find a community, you want to learn how to either do things yourself or find somebody who can help you through it, that's what we do. And then focus on girls just want to have funding.
That's so cute. I love it. Yeah, no, when you had your event in Toronto, I guess when was that? It feels like so long ago.
It was ages ago, February 24th, if you
Yeah.
can believe it. Yeah.
Wow. That was a great event. You brought in some very fearless women in the industry, and
Mhm.
you did that from Chicago. So I can only imagine what kind of events you put on in Chicago.
It's pretty neat, I mean, we have sort of a theme where we bring in the founders and hear their founder journeys, including whether they bootstrapped or whether they got grants or loans or, what stage is the right stage. And then obviously the industry experts, which as we had in February and March was on demystifying cannabis and CBD, which I
Mhm.
continue to get questions on.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, there's people really want to be dialed into the community and
As of
um,
recently? Oh, wow.
because of the although you can't tout the health properties of cannabis and CBD, I think from an immune system, people are looking for all the alternatives that are
Mhm.
out there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat because there's so many women who have actually started CBD companies.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
fun. And a pets one. So for pets health, we've got a
Oh,
woman who
wow.
has CBD for pets, which is kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
I'll introduce you to Erin. She's absolutely phenomenal, and
Oh,
you know,
that's great.
it's a great story of an entrepreneur who just kind of she and her life partner joined forces and created this company, and then just went for it. They put a package together. They got a booth, and went for it, and now they've got this bustling company. So it's
Wow, good
really
for her.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
great. And how many companies do you have on your directory now?
We're getting close to 700, which is
Wow.
exciting. I know last we talked, I think I was saying 600. So
Yeah, yeah. That's
it's
great.
we've actually had huge growth from in the last 9 weeks. Huge growth.
Oh, wow. That's really great. That's awesome. And
Hmm.
how is Fembot adapting to the new normal? Are you, doing a lot of virtual stuff, virtual events, virtual webinars?
Yeah, we actually started, so we were very quick to react. And the
Hmm.
first thing we did was create a guide on how to go virtual.
I saw that.
And yeah,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
one was fun. And then fast followed by virtual accountability and goal setting calls, which are free and open to everyone, women and men. I'll be honest, mostly women join. Um, but on there, it's been incredible to watch women go from, okay, my business is shut down, my storefront, I can't operate out of it, to creating it on their home, out of their home, sending flowers. Like, so going from, okay, I have this in-person and event-based business to how do I translate that online and the products, right? There's been so many rules about no touch and all of those kinds of things. So navigating through that
Okay.
has been really neat on the calls. And we had one woman who just started um, an online dating, virtual dating.
Yeah, that seems to be a big thing right now. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hearing
so
all about it.
She did. She launched a Quarantine Island, which is a dating show
That
of
is so
virtual
cool.
dating. So we're doing a watch party on Facebook on Saturday night at 8 p.m.
Oh
It's
my
really
goodness.
fun.
I will definitely tune into that. That is so cool.
So just watching, our accountability and goal setting calls, and I just posted on LinkedIn today about the theme for today
Yeah,
was,
I saw that.
yeah,
Yeah, it was so
right.
cool. Great picture of you,
Being,
by the way. It was awesome.
oh, thank you. I was trying to be cool.
Yeah, it was great.
My women's version of James Dean, the James
Yeah.
Dean. But being intentional instead of being like, oh, that person's doing that. Oh, that person's doing that. Let me follow
Yeah.
that path. The whole idea of the goal setting was recognizing that everyone's going to want to be really reactive, and
Mm-hmm.
to bringing them back to being intentional. You can pivot, but,
Mm-hmm.
but do it with purpose.
Exactly. That's great. And you had another article too. It was like 5 ways to stop feeling like an imposter. And what
Mm-hmm.
does that mean? Are a lot of people feeling that way right now? Are you finding that?
Yeah, what spurred it? It was actually, so what a woman had written about feeling like an imposter interviewing her, one of the people she was fangirling, right? So it's like we all have that, where we're in the room with somebody and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're letting me talk because I am in awe of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she wrote about that, and so I had also noticed a lot of people are pivoting, and when you pivot, you don't always feel like an expert or the expert
Right.
that you really are, because it's slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really that different for me to get up on stage in front of 100 people or get up in front of a camera? It feels different.
Yeah.
And so we were hearing a lot of sentiments of imposter syndrome in these group calls where you may not necessarily feel comfortable and confident. And
Oh,
so
interesting.
it's like a new dynamic for people. And how do you show up and be your true self and your full self on what feels a bit like camera? And you and we're a little bit more used to it.
And still to this day, I'm not. I get so nervous before I do anything. I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But like at the end of the day, it's the new normal, right? Like you said, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're creating content. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And value for people, and so to anybody watching, like you have value, your value, and just
Hmm.
because you have to do it online, you still just strike your Wonder Woman power pose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so those 5 tips are tips that span across, but we really wanted to get that message out, so that people felt like it's okay to feel like a bit of an imposter. Here are the tools you can use on the phone, and it's about, if you put that extra lucky sweater on, or that extra necklace or
Yeah.
something, or
It's
spray,
comforting.
yeah,
Yeah.
or spray perfume. Nobody can tell that you didn't shower today, but you sprayed the perfume and you feel like, okay, I smell good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that whole thing. I now just wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I need to get ready as if I'm going to the office, because
Mm-hmm.
it makes me more productive and,
Yep.
gives me that extra, productivity to get work done during the day.
Exactly. And routine is a bit hard for people to find right now.
Hmm.
It was one of the reasons I set up our virtual accountability and goal setting calls for 9:30 in the morning, Chicago time. And every single one of us is struggling to get out of bed for that.
That's a good
Because
thing though. That's a good thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it shows how necessary it is, because it is easy to fall into a routine where you
Hmm.
don't get out of bed, and then you work until 10 because you feel like you weren't productive.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I know it's those little things with adapting. I think it probably took me a whole month before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you had just started, or you just opened an office in Chicago before you had visited me in February.
Yeah.
How is that
Yeah.
looking?
So, we've had to adapt significantly because 90% of our revenue was from in person. Even though we did so much online for connectivity,
You did, yeah.
the reality is our funding
Hmm.
was from resources. We did that intentionally to make it more accessible for entrepreneurs, but we relied on corporate sponsors and corporate partners and then the events. And so our pivot has been interesting because we've tried to figure out ways to stay really, really connected with our community online. And
Hmm.
that's actually created more connectivity.
Oh, that's amazing. I was just about to say, have you noticed any kind of
Yeah.
negatives to that? But you're seeing a lot of positives from that, which is great.
A lot of positives because the commuting time is taken out, and so you're more likely to pop on a happy hour, which I find that people call them happy hours, but there's no drinking, so
Yeah,
it's okay.
exactly.
Don't worry that you're
Yeah, it's kind of
just
been
doing.
stigmatized that way. Yeah.
Um, but I think we've met so many more people and it's been great. So while obviously our event revenue is zero, our memberships have increased significantly and the
It's
value that
amazing.
we're able to provide. And so it has been a big pivot for us. Um, and then watching how we support our members is also very different now than it
Yeah,
was before. It was about bringing 100 people together and making that one-on-one introduction. Now we do everything virtually and online, which actually is faster and more in the moment, and so people are really seeing even more value out of it.
that's great. And have you had to kind of learn any new technologies since,
Yes.
yeah,
A
yeah,
few.
a lot of
I
people
was
have.
fairly proficient with Zoom, but they've added a lot of features to
Yeah,
Zoom. We actually also will be announcing in a few days that we are partnering with Crowdcast. So
okay.
I don't know if you've used the Crowdcast platform, but it's
I have
phenomenal.
not. Oh, I have not. Can,
Yeah.
what is Crowdcast?
So it's an online platform for events is the
Okay,
way is in its simplest form, and I'm not a salesperson for them, but what it does is you can have it's one to many or few to many, so you
okay.
can have really large audiences. They've got Q&A functions built in,
That's
um,
cool.
and then calls to action, which can include, funding. So buy this now,
Oh, I see.
donate here, sign up this, and so it's got a lot of flexibility. And then the breakout rooms. So I think Zoom and Crowdcast have a lot of similarities.
Hmm.
But what I like also about it is the registration feature. So it's
Okay.
all in one.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's
Mm-hmm.
so awesome. And how do you find, like, for someone who doesn't know that technology already, does that technology make it user friendly for everyone else that you're expecting to join onto that platform?
Yeah, the joining a meeting super simple. I find it a bit easier than Zoom even, and I think that's a function of Zoom having created the new admits and all of that. Um, if you want to, with some of the things and features that it has, if you're an operator of it or an administrator, like we can live stream onto our website simultaneously, which is
Oh, that's
pretty
great.
cool, and also have that footage on our website. And you can live stream onto Facebook and things like that.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I gotta
oh,
look this up.
yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's pretty cool technology. So we had been looking at them for a while, um, and wanted to do bigger, more targeted events for people. And so our virtual gala will be on Crowdcast. We're doing a gala, put your dancing shoes on. Hey, Jimmy.
Oh
Thanks
my
for
goodness, I love that. I've been seeing
We're,
a lot of those actually. And people
have
are, it's so
you?
funny. They're like, oh, I'm all dressed up and nowhere to go. And then they're just like going to a gala. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we'll be having a virtual gala, and there will be a shoe and hair competition. We're
Oh,
planning to
awesome.
have some mixology, so you'll have
That's
like
so cool.
your cocktail recipes and things like that. And then there's some secret things to come. So follow
Oh,
us on Instagram because you'll hear all about the gala. It'll be a fun one.
that's great. And where can viewers find Fembot on Instagram? Like, what's your handle?
So it's FEMMEBOUGHT. I'm pointing to it right behind me. So it's
Awesome.
the French word for woman, femme, and bought, like I purchased from a woman. And
That's
so
awesome.
that's where you can find us.
That's great. And what are some other ways that you're kind of like supporting women owned during this time?
Yeah,
Or besides
it's
like the virtual stuff, is there like that one-on-one call where it's because it can be an
mhm.
emotional time for a lot of business owners.
Yeah, it really is. It's an emotional time, I think, for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
It's like being in the house, not being able to do their routine items, and just not having that certainty and stability. And so that's something that we help provide to people. We do. I mean, I always offer, conversations and one-on-one time, but what we're setting up in addition will be, smaller peer groups of things, and then we also on our Facebook group
Hmm.
for our members have been doing a lot of education, but it's more peer education as
Okay.
opposed to the experts. It's a little bit more relatable to how do I actually accomplish this thing. So
Okay.
we've
And
been finding that women are now revamping their whole emailing system or create. So I did a DIY with bloopers of all of the things that I did to create our email funnels, for example.
oh, very cool.
And what we do in those sessions is it's Q&A. So I'll say to people, okay, um, come on in, join, and then I'll say, drop a comment in here if you're experiencing this. And so I poll the audience and really get a sense of kind of what it is that their needs are, because the groups will differ, and I'll target actually what I focus on and some of the techniques and things like that to the audience and what their needs are at the time. So it's very interactive.
Oh, that's great. Are you getting a lot of positive feedback from doing
Yeah.
that?
That
That's great.
I get asked, some people said I should do it every day. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. There's only some days I like to not wear makeup. I have to admit. Fridays I try to not wear makeup.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, exactly. I think this is a good time too, where we can kind of not wear makeup and let our hair go naturally. My friend always jokes, she's like, "Oh, all of our hair is gonna come out like so nice when all this is over.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have great hair."
Yeah, like my hair definitely feels healthier for
Yeah,
sure. My
same.
nails too. I
Yeah.
even though desperately would love to have someone take. Yeah, I need the pedicure. That I can't do. Can't
Summer's
DIY
coming.
that one for
Yeah,
sure.
no.
But
So what is quarantine kind of looking like for you? Like, are you just you're at home
hmm
in
you know, we
Chicago?
moved back. We moved back to Chicago in February, and we were in temporary housing. And then, true to form, there's a lot of ripple effects. And so the last time we talked, I told you I might be homeless tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
We had another one of those moments. We had our condo, our tenant who was in it, their housing fell through because of all of the things happening. And so the day before we were going to move, they told us that, and we said, well, just stay where you are. We don't want you to be homeless. And we actually moved in with my in-laws.
Oh, okay. And
So
how is that?
it's been good. You know what? We have green space outside.
That's good.
There's lots of rooms,
Yeah,
the
that's important.
bedrooms. I'm in the bedroom right now, and we've got a couch and a living space in
Oh,
here.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
about you? What does it look like for you?
Well, I was in the city and then I just decided to go up to my parents, just up
Hmm.
north because the city was just a bit too daunting for me. It was stressful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of green space here, so I have lots of space to move around, go on bike rides, and I think right now, more than ever, it's really important to stay healthy
Yeah.
physically and mentally, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that
That's
comes first.
something that we've spoken a lot about and posted about, just to get people engaged, to say who has on their work to-do list to,
Self-care.
self-care. And
Yeah.
not on your personal list, on your work list.
No, exactly, exactly. And it's always hard to bridge the like to separate the two, right? You're like, oh, well,
Hmm.
that doesn't belong there because that's my to-do list for work today. But like it's kind of
Hmm.
your job to take care of yourself too if you're gonna work well.
And movement's important because, especially it being in the house, and we've had a lot of rain today. It's been lovely. It's about to thunderstorm in a few minutes, but we
Yeah,
got
we're
out
having rain.
and we took a 45-minute walk, right?
Oh,
And
great. That's
not
good.
something I would have done in my normal day.
No, me neither. Yeah. What are the things, what are you going to adapt some things that you've kind of implemented now and implement them on the other side when all of this is done?
Yeah, one of the things with the virtual accountability calls is those we have 3 more weeks of those, and then that will end the second cohort that we did. But we've converted it, and at the more graduated membership levels, our small groups will
Hmm.
be doing masterminds where we're problem solving, we're goal setting, we're tracking, we're problem solving. You'll have homework, you'll be assigned a buddy, and it really will be to take, whatever your goal is, and you don't have to be a business owner. That's something else we implemented too, is to bring non-business owners into our community. We created a membership for
Okay.
allies,
Okay.
and so that's great, right?
Yeah.
And so you might be an ally who has a goal,
Hmm.
and so you can bring that goal forward too. You don't necessarily have to be
Have
a
to be a
business
business
owner.
owner. Yeah, no, that's great.
And we'll take surveys of what it is that people are hoping to accomplish to get the cohorts in the right place
Oh,
over
that's
time.
awesome.
Hmm.
And are you finding that a lot of people want to like do like fill out surveys? I always find hesitation with that.
We've only done 2 surveys, and we had a 75% response rate on our
That's
survey.
really great. That's so good.
So it could be, you never know timing or time of day, but I find that when you're taking a survey, for people, that because they can see the questions and how they relate to the outcomes,
Yeah.
they tend to they tend to be more responsive. So you will get into the right cohort if you fill out the survey.
And it will benefit you more because you'll
Yeah.
be speaking with someone that's more relevant to what you're kind of working on.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because even our emerging entrepreneurs, they're not going to want to be in a group that's in who's been operating for 5 years necessarily, because that distance, 5 years isn't a long time, but
Yeah.
in entrepreneurial dog years, you know, it makes a big difference. So we'd rather have the emerging be paired up with somebody who's 3 years or under.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're giving a lot of advice to entrepreneurs that had started business before this had happened, but now that a lot of people have more time, they're coming up with
Yeah.
business plans. So, what kind of
Are.
advice would you offer to individuals starting businesses with, this free time that they have?
Two pieces of advice. One is you should become an emerging entrepreneur with Fembot, because we've got some great people to have you have a peer group with. And I think peers is really important, and community. So if you're starting an endeavor, find your community. Make sure that that community that you sit with is engaged, and engaged in a way that's meaningful to you.
Yeah.
The other is, don't judge your timelines and your runway on the basis of what you see other people accomplishing.
Okay. Interesting. And you should base it off of just, what you...
Yeah, your realistic, attainable goals. So, for example, if I'm working on something full time and I'm devoting 100% of my attention to this one goal and task, I'm probably going to get that up and running much faster than if you're working full time, you're a parent, or have family care. And so you really do have to make your goal attainable for you. I give the example of, and let me see if I have one here, of a checklist. So this is a decent checklist. It's probably more than one can accomplish in one day. On Saturday, I decided to make this double. And then I felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything.
Oh, I see. So it's like failed expectations, and then it gets you down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that's task oriented as opposed to goal oriented. We do a lot more around goals, and then having them in chunks that you can. One woman, Fly Girl Fitness, if you're not following her, she called them chicken nuggets. You gotta make them into chicken nuggets. Digestible, reasonable, attainable goals. And I think as a new entrepreneur, the space from ideation to actualization, you can see it in your head, and then it takes so much longer to effectuate. And so it's really about helping people, and your community will help you.
No, exactly.
They'll forgive you, and they'll celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
You got to celebrate the wins.
You do. And community is everything. And you know that. You've got such a big community, which has helped you, I assume. And I mean, that just you planning that event from Chicago in Toronto, and the turnout you had, just seeing that community pull together for your event was quite amazing to see.
It's fun to do, especially, you do a lot of it online. So when I lived in Toronto, we planned our launch in Chicago, and it was awe-inspiring to see 100 people come. And, I didn't have a face-to-face conversation with a single one of them, especially then when you're on the phone even, but most of it was in the instant messaging. Another thing that's really, really cool that we're doing, and you'll see this in the gala, the talk will be about investing in women. And where you put your dollars. And I'm going to talk to you offline a little bit about this one, because we're putting together women who are interested in investing. And then how they part of where, I'll be interested to kind of add some of the layers of the CSE and some of the opportunities there.
Oh, exciting. I'm excited to hear more about that. Yeah. That's awesome.
So it'll be fun. It's fun. And what I'm finding is that entrepreneurs, there are a good number who also want to invest in other women businesses too.
No, yeah, exactly.
I know I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And now's the time. So many, like I said, I feel like there's going to be so many companies that are going to be born from this, as well as so many companies that have already started and are going to be well on their way to hit the ground running when they can, right? Yeah. So I mean, not that they can't right now, but when they get that extra leverage, they're gonna go so far.
Yeah, and they're building, with the time that people have, they can be soul task oriented to really get some of these businesses off the ground. I mean, the coders are coding away and building products.
Oh, I know.
We're going to revolutionize. We have a new emerging entrepreneur who just joined Fembot. She does a cardio diagnostic platform.
Wow.
Like, so phenomenal. And she said they're moving like really fast right now. Because you know, some of
People
the
need
other
it.
things you had to do aren't getting in the way.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
your
That's
coffee
great.
runs are just to the kitchen.
No, I know. Exactly. Exactly. There's a lot more time, which is great.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
is there anything else that we can kind of look forward to from Fembot? When's the gala? Sorry,
So we're
what day
looking
did you?
at a Saturday in June.
Okay.
I'm looking at June 13th, but I gotta pass it through the board
Yeah.
members. But June 13th, and we recognize that people might be back to work. It's a Saturday, but the big events, just, you know, I don't know that people are going to feel super comfortable about big events. So this is going to be really fun. There's going to be music. There's going to be, you know, some learning and some competitions on what you're wearing.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well,
You can
Sophia, thank.
find us. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. I was just going to
no, no, no,
say.
that's okay. I can put it, I'll put it up on our, on my LinkedIn as well, and try and get as many people as I can to join. Is
I
there
love
going to
it.
be like a limit to how many people you're going to allow on it?
No, this is gonna
Okay.
be open, and we'll see. It might be big, it might be small, and you know, right now is a great time to be trying new things. But we anticipate a hundred people,
That's good.
if
Well,
not more, because we're now two main cities. Is that yeah?
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. And if you can just tell all of our joiners here on the live where we can see more of your content, where we can find you on social media.
Absolutely. So Fembot, Femmebought, that's our handle for Instagram and for Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. The content we provide, a lot of it is in our Facebook groups, and then also just if you're following us, we share links all the time. And then if you're interested in getting some of our content, all you have to do is message me. Message me on
Awesome.
Instagram, message me on LinkedIn, on the Fembot side, because I don't do a lot on my personal
Good.
side. Yeah, you
Well,
know, you gotta, yeah, otherwise I'd have 80 different places
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It'd be hard to keep track of everything. That's how you kind of got in contact with me. You just sent me a random LinkedIn
I
message,
was
which
like,
is awesome.
I
So much
loved your
courage.
podcast. You talked to somebody I knew.
Thank
I'm
you.
like, oh, I gotta message you. Yeah.
Oh,
I highly encourage that, especially for the newer emerging entrepreneurs. Like, don't be afraid to ask people for a coffee chat to pick their brain,
it
but
is
know what
daunting.
you're going to ask them. Know what you're
Yeah,
going to ask them.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today and providing your insights with our audience. And have a great rest of the
Absolutely.
week.
You too, and everybody, I'm looking forward to seeing you join our mailing list. You'll get lots of cool info and good news stories. And I wish you all the best.
Awesome. Thanks, Sophia.
Bye. Good to
Bye.
see you.